Hello, everyone. Welcome to Weekends with Amit. And today's subject is very interesting. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Frank Sinatra, but there is a song which is quite famous and it has something with doobie doobie doo. Now, there is one very interesting aspect of quantum science which is attached to these phrases. And if you are familiar with the work of Amit Goswami, PhD, you will know what it means. And for those of you who still don't know, we are here to tell you what it is, particularly in times of stress and related things under the current circumstances. And in this discussion, we have our panelists today, Professor Amit Goswami and Dr. Valentina Onisov. Welcome to both of you. I'm
Thank you very much.
sure today is going to be a very interesting day for all of us because we are going to know or going to understand how the line of a song can change one's life, the destiny, not only an individual, but a society, maybe the world, if we follow it. And to start with that, I would request Professor Goswami to say a few words on how do you look at Doobie Doobie Doo? What is it so significant? Why is it so significant?
Be happy to. This is a very, very, very important phrase in the quantum worldview, quantum lifestyle. So let me give you a little bit of history. Back in the 1990s, um, I used to work with several other scientists at the University of Oregon, an educator in the education department, a behaviorist in the psych department, and an anthropologist in the anthropology department. And I, of course, am a physicist, quantum physicist. Quantum physics gives us a theory of creativity. That's not a surprising because creativity has this quantum leaps of insight. Creative process consists of, we are told by researchers, consists of four stages: preparation, incubation, which is defined as unconscious processing in psychology, and then the sudden insight, which is quantum leap, manifestation, work on the product. But of course, I was a creative person myself, and I was comparing with my work, and it was not quite jiving. And then this behavioral psychologist raised another issue, which became very interesting. A very great question. Behaviorism says all our behavior follows from conditioning. So he had a model for creativity. He said, okay, so conditioned behavior, but we can also develop creative behavior. At first, it sounds like anachronism, but then I sort of believed him because that was his picture of the creative behavior was jiving with my own experiences. And all this was uh, confirmed by a dream. I have great trust in dreams because dreams give us a notion from the collective unconscious. And the dream message was very clear. I was seeing angels. First, I saw angels who were into do, gambling, dancing, joshing, laughing, working, writing, and then they went away and they were replaced by some other dream angels, and these angels are simply meditating, doing nothing. A voice from the background said, for the first group, these are the do angels, angels of doing. And the second group, the voice declared, these are the angels of being. And this went on, doing angels, being angels, doing angels, being angels. So when I woke up, I had Frank Sinatra's jingle in my head. Dooby dooby doo. So that's the origin of the do. I realized that the do is part of the creative process. It's not just do whole bunch of do and then be. No, creative people really have a do lifestyle. They work and then they relax. Work, relax, work, relax. And understanding this process, installing this in the lifestyle is what makes a creative person even more creative, developing a creative character. The behaviorists call it behavior, but it's not really just behavior. It's a change from ego a little bit because ego cannot do this. Do. As soon as you start do, you are no longer the strictly speaking that old ego. You have become a creative ego. You are changed. The beginning of what we call soul making. Do lifestyle is an important step to make if you are interested in personal growth, if you want to make creativity as part of your character. Okay, how is that for an introduction?
That's wonderful. Just one word of clarification. So in this world, people succeed. They do a lot of work. They kind of project the fact or take pride in the fact that they work 25 hours a day. So this is something totally wrong unless someone is really looking at a quick burnout or looking at completely mundane work devoid of creativity. Is that right?
Yeah, the people who work too much, hyperactive, uh, they are, I wouldn't say they are uncreative, but they engage at best situational creativity, but usually situational problem solving. They never take that crucial component of the creative process. They don't take actual real quantum leap. They try to solve everything by intellectual and manage to solve it by intellect. In principle, situational creativity can be simulated by intellectual thinking for outer problems. If it is not a inner problem, growth problem, personal growth problem, usually the outer problems like in physics, theoretical physics, for example, which I am, it usually would be some part of mathematical thinking that has a block. And if you are very good in mathematical rational thinking, it is not impossible to figure things out. And some people probably do. I knew a physicist personally who actually quite original, but he started every paper logically with a name, abstract, everything like he is writing the paper in the final form, and he really rationally progressed, did not wait for, ordinarily we don't work like that. I never have worked like that. I would work a little bit and then I would develop some ideas, write it down, not even type it, and then all of a sudden main idea will come, I will develop the mathematics. That's the way I work. So, people can work in that modality, in which case they can say that I work 25 hours a day, maybe even more if that's possible. So they're not lying, except that they're not truly creative. They never take the quantum leap.
So we'll come right back to Dr. Raneswar. So there is these two worldviews. One is do, working, relaxing. And there is the other aggressive behavior. People like to work, and they say this is how things can be achieved. So as a doctor, as a clinical doctor, and a very deep with a very deep understanding of the quantum physics, what would be your view on this subject?
So, of course, this has to be well understood. And what we mean by work followed by relaxation, again, in order to be a creative work, it doesn't refer so much to the routine work. But of course, the routine work is also necessary in a process. And it is a fundamental necessity to learn to organize ourselves and to do this doing part, which is referring also to the capacity to focus and to be organized again, mixed with that being, which refers to that state of deep relaxation and even more enjoying that kind of relaxation. It's not just switching off from your work in the computer, something, and then you turn on the TV and you're watching something which you're thinking that it's relaxing you. It's not in that way. So we are lacking a lot in understanding what is this doing and what is the being. And once we will get to understand this and really practice, then we are more in charge of our lives. But this lack of relaxation and lack of mental hygiene and focus, together with the conflicts of isolation, for example, which you see nowadays, all this lack of do, it leads to what you see today is kind of social distancing was replaced with this social unrest. So even if maybe you don't see it upfront, but you have to know that the level of anxiety, of depression, of burnout is truly increasing. And even before this stage where we are now, it was kind of 1 in 10 people in this kind of state. And of course, all these negative emotions, the frustrations, which are part of building this hidden stress, you have to know that, for example, a manifestation of a state of sadness, which is prolonged more than 2 weeks, together with a state of stress, isolation, being kind of slow, problems with the sleep, and it's kind of everything that you do it very difficult. You get to these states of anxiety, melancholy, which you are neglecting, right? It's actually a proof of your auto-aggressivity, or self-aggressivity, and kind of a self-punishment or even judgment. So you can hide them, but something you have to notice that is different. And I have to say, because I saw this in our students and other people also. So we need to really understand and be very, very attentive what is happening now, because I saw as a mechanism of coping with the situation nowadays, the people are, even the very creative people, they become a workaholic, right? And I saw myself also in there. And you do very, very well all the things and trying to do many things in the same time, but in the same time, if you're not attentive what you do with this mental capacity, and you let yourself distracted with so many other things, like somebody sending you a message, you're clicking on that, and you're getting, even if you don't know on the moment, on the spot, you're getting influenced with that, and it's really dangerous. I'll explain why in a bit. And then again, you're neglecting your being time, because again, there's so much to do in order to cope with whatever is there, and you know that you have the talents, the capacities, and all that. All right. So overall, this do style is the thing which is leading to crisis. Yeah. And again, it's even when you like very much what you're doing. Yeah. And it's a very delicate thing to reach the equilibrium and to keep it in moments of great creativity. And if you're not doing that, simply you will fall flat on your nose. Of course, there are remedies and there are solutions for this, especially from the health perspective. But the idea is to learn not to get there, So kind of this preventive medicine, which it's also, again, we always emphasized on mental hygiene and on the necessity of really learning concentration meditation, awareness meditation, which are actually part of this preventive medicine. And not just that, but this is just some examples. And if you're thinking, even in a relationship, even if you don't see it, but this, if you do all the time, eventually your lover will run away. So to allow in that space for the mystery and the beauty and the power of love to heal you, to transform you, it's also necessary. So practicing do, it's part of the creative process, and it has to be applied in every single thing that we value. And also you see the syndrome of permanent fatigue, all this tiredness, all this stress. It's a system problem. It's not localized. It cannot be measured easily. It's not like you have to check a bacteria or an organ. So according to the World Health Organization in the 90s, not even now, stress directly and indirectly is related to illness, as 70% of illness which are known. So it's a great factor of health or illness that influences our lives nowadays. And actually, you have to know that stress and this kind of anxiety is killing people, more people than anything on the planet nowadays. And you get all these phones, right? You get a kind of test of intelligence before getting this kind of phones, because otherwise, again, it's stealing completely your attention. And we don't see that on the spot, you know. So what we need to do, the first steps, of course, is to become aware what's happening. You know, where is your level of attention, and how is the quality of your life right now? Are you easily expanded? Are you rather contracted? You know, so you will see according to how is your perception upon life. You know, how material is that perception, or how easily you allow yourself to expand. And you know, if you're stressed, you know that. And it's better to not to put it under the carpet if it's there, but rather act upon it. And then it's important to eliminate the biggest source of stress, which is what you call involuntary movements. So it's kind of every time the attention is shifting and we think another thought and we react, yeah? And there are so thousands of them every minute, which results in this constant fog and shifting of attention. And let's say we write something and somebody is sending us a link and we are clicking that, as I said, you know. So we have to learn to have this ethics attitude related to our attention. You know, when something is stealing our attention, to just bring it back immediately. And again, when you realize you're in the bushes, to be able to be back, to come back, you know. And but again, the stressing part is when you involuntarily jump to something else. Yeah, this is an immense contribution to stress factors. And on that background, all kind of reactions are added, you know. And then, of course, you need to learn to process the conflicts, whatever conflicts are there because of the situation that we all live in, for example. For this, we have the STOP technique, we have the EFT methods, and so many other things which are there. But again, those conflicts needs to be processed. And let's say you focus well, you do a job, you know, you do whatever you're doing, and when you're finishing it, you know, or part of it, whatever you propose, then you have that a desire that you want to go and relax somewhere, and then you go there and kind of enjoy fully. Because today, again, we don't focus fully, and we also don't enjoy fully anymore, you know. We lost that joy of simplicity, you know. We are asking for more and more sophisticated things so that we can relax. And as Amit mentioned, and I also saw him many times, and I love that so much, in order to relax, you can even just take a novel, you know, a relaxing novel, and start reading. Even reading, we lost that habit, for example. Or laughing with a friend, like a good belly laugh with all your heart, or singing something, singing a love song, walking barefoot in the grass or a river, and even, of course, hugging if it's possible, or massages, or conscious touch, which is called, you know, this can also very quickly bring you in the present moment and also expand you. These are just a few examples. And now, if you want, I can give you all kind of other remedies, because again, I saw people confronting with this kind of situation, and we really have to be better at the way we deal with our lives right now.
Of course. Remedies are what we are looking for, every one of us, because this is, as you were correctly putting it, stress is the major killer, a silent killer. It's much bigger than whatever pandemic we are facing, and it is there for a very long time. And there is no, say, inclination to see that it is going to slow down anytime soon. So we have to deal with it. And of course, the point is not to get to the point of destruction and then try to fix it. It is much better to prevent, and remedies on that front is most welcome. I'm sure our viewers will love it. So Dr. Anisar, please go ahead.
All right. So because I'm a big fan of Ayurveda and Panchakarma, I have to tell you that most of the times stress and burnout is related with Vata dosha. So you have to study a little bit what means Vata dosha. And all this hyperactivity, yeah, restless leg syndrome, insomnia, if you have these kind of things, Vata dosha, okay? And I'll just give you very few methods from the Ayurvedic traditions, which are very easy by everyone to apply, you know. So, and just some ideas how to start your day and also how to end your day, you know, because both things are very important. And so besides what I said about learning to focus, you know, learning to truly be present in what you're doing, you know, learning to act in an integrative way, according to the move of the conscious, according to your dharma if possible, according to your archetype, that's another story. But now, because I mean, not everybody can do that for the moment, you know, I'll just give you some ideas, you know. So, for example, you can start your morning with paying attention to yourself. So starting your morning with yourself and ending the morning with yourself, it's very, very important. Please put your phones away, if possible, out of your rooms. You don't need to watch the phone, TV, like at least 1 hour before going to bed. Okay, so that would be a beginning, because we already have the tendency, we are watching the phone even in the night. We are getting up and we are just turning on the phone, watching the messages, right? So this is very, very damaging. There are many, many studies already about this. So if you want to be healthy, more happy, and attentive with your creativity, it would be good to take off, I mean, from this kind of habit. All right, so you don't jump up on your phone. You start your day with yourself. Like, for example, sit with the back straight, simply move your attention to the breathing, and connect with yourself in any way that you can. Find something which is expanding you, yeah, so that you start the day in an inspired way. Okay, if you had the specific dreams, of course, it's good to have by the bed a journal where you're writing your dreams. All right, and then move your attention to the breathing slowly and set up your intent for the day. And then you can, for example, you can start your morning with drinking a cup of warm or hot water, yeah? So not your tea, simply water, even 100 milliliters, because that will start up the fire in your body, and also helps draining the mucus, eliminating toxins. So you start the day by equilibrating Vata dosha. All right, in Ayurveda, we have other ways as well. Like, for example, if you are in that situation, you can do even yourself a warm oil body massage, you know, like once a day, or if you have somebody to do it for you. There is my favorite method, Shirodhara, which is you're simply laying down and there's a pot above your head. Shir means head, Dara is a pot, and simply warm oil pouring on your head is equilibrating so beautifully Vata dosha, you know, and the effect is wonderful on depression, on anxiety, on everything. And another thing is to add ghee to your food over time, you know, in the day. Also, there are, of course, there are other remedies which you can add if you feel weak and again exhausted mentally. For example, I would recommend to everybody the bee products. Yeah, it's a lot to say about honey, about royal jelly, especially. Royal jelly is very good to regenerate nerves and also to regenerate immunity. Even in 3-4 days, you see the effect. And you can take a lot of royal jelly from 0.5 grams to 20 grams even, you know. And you can truly, like I had patients which even in 1 day, they truly came out from a bad cold, for example, with royal jelly. And there are other bee, like bee bread, for example, and the fresh bee pollen, if you're not allergic. If you are, then you need to see why. And of course, pay attention to the health of digestive health, you know, the intestines, and drink enough water, of course, hydrate yourself. And there are, like, for example, you can take 1 spoon of honey in warm water, a little bit lukewarm, yeah, and 1 drop lemon oil, you know, therapeutic grade lemon oil or grapefruit, you know, on empty stomach, or even add some zeolite and this fresh bee pollen, for example. So that could be having an effect of a coffee if you are taking that. And of course, you need to start with some moving, you know, move the lymph, yeah, and Tai Chi, Qigong, Hatha Yoga, of course. Or again, if you don't know about these kind of things, even some stretching or running, anything. Yeah. Best is if you sweat a little bit. You know, with no need to get really tired. Ayurveda says that there are more than 10 types of fire in organism that needs to be awakened. And then there are some adaptogen herbs which allow the organism to adapt optimum to stress. And it's very good even for immunity, but not just that. It's also as it talks, but also just simply helping you to adapt to cases of stress. You don't need to wait for a disease to happen before taking such herbs like schizandra or ashwagandha or neem, if you heard about these kind of things. And then there are others like Siberian ginseng, astragalus, cordyceps, rosemary, maca, masam, tulsi, and the white sage. There are many other remedies, but these are easy. It's kind of, I think everybody can find these kind of things. And you need to pay attention to hydrate well, not just water, but also bring value to the water. So you can add, for example, therapeutic grade essential oils and enzymatic, for example, legumes, vegetables in water if you have any kind of disequilibrium. All right. And then you, of course, you start your day. I don't know if you're working from home or you have to go somewhere. After you do this kind of, if you take natural remedies or you practice some asanas or whatever you're practicing, you need to give your body at least 20 minutes if you want. The best would be, and then you take your breakfast. And again, pay attention to have enough nutrients during the day and the proper nutrients which are for you. And then in the evening, again, you need to end the day with yourself again. So give yourself that kind of time. And you can even, again, work towards your Dharma. You can evoke the presence of the guardian angel so that you have inspirations even in the night. It's just another state of consciousness. So it's not that you're dying when you're going to bed, hopefully. But again, don't look to any screen 1 hour before bed. No TV, no phone, because of all these electromagnetic frequencies, which is affecting our brain. Or actually pay attention to replace that blue light with red light. Yeah. All right. Also, no eating at least, 2 hours before bedtime if you want to have a good sleep, which is very important. You can drink again something warm like chamomile, for example, and honey. Of course, no caffeine, no intense physical exercises, but you can do yoga poses. There are specific yoga poses which will help, or a simple walk would help very much. And another very beautiful thing is to start having your journal, of course, to read, to do yoga, to meditate, to have this journal and manifest a state of gratitude. Even if it's difficult times, the practice of gratitude and compassion, but now I refer to gratitude, is very, very helpful. And if you're doing a journal and you're watching yourself, witnessing what's happening in your daytime with your mental potential and what your emotional things which come up, you need to also write, how do I need to look at this situation so that it doesn't disturb me. Try to see that. That's one. It's a lot to describe how to do a very good journal. And another thing which you can take in the evening, which would help very much in regeneration, is warm milk with the ashwagandha. It's a herb, and some honey. It's helping a very good sleep, and where you will secrete also endorphins and have a great rest. Okay, and then again, there are, you need to move your body. Don't remain so stiff in all the positions, only sitting at the computer, even if you don't know now yoga poses, in my opinion. You can simply learn to kind of get up every half an hour and do some stretches, become aware of your position. Don't do this kind of positions like with the back, so like a hunchback, because it's not just that. Again, you're closing, you're becoming contracting. So you have to be aware as you can. And at the same time, as I say, learn about relaxation, shavasana, yoga nidra, walk in the nature, and do all the beautiful things to really relax. Start training yourself to enjoy and rejoice the simple things in life, and find the quality in these things. That would be very, very short introduction to these things.
Wonderful. This is extremely helpful. This is something that people can start practicing from today. And this is what we need for a society which is more healthy, and we can create a much better future if you are careful about what we are doing. Now we are almost out of time, And I would request Professor Goswami to just wrap it up as he usually does. Over to you, sir.
To reemphasize, the do lifestyle keeps our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system in balance. If you don't know, sympathetic nervous system is that part of the autonomic nervous system which is connected with the hormonal glands. And this is how, when the sympathetic do lifestyle makes the sympathetic way too active, and that's what produces the imbalance of the hormones. This is, of course, do lifestyle is the remedy for it, because B restores the parasympathetic, reestablishes balance. But you have to understand something. Being is very difficult if you are an intellectual person. Intellectuals cannot stop intellectualizing. And so what is very imperative to keep that, Valentina talked about Vata dosha, to keep that from happening, is that you really have to develop awareness of the body, the awareness of the experiences in the body. There are self-experiences in the body, you know, at the heart, at the navel. Those are chakra points, and we experience something very important built into our collective unconscious, just as negative emotion, just not as strong as the negative emotional circuits. So they never give us very strong circuitry that automatically gets wakened up. You have to awaken them. And we awaken them between age 5, 6, that kind of age, when the child is learning autonomy. And again, for the heart, the waking up is the main job of sexual awareness that happened at puberty. But today, as Valentina emphasized, the lifestyle is way centered towards information processing. So at the age 5 to 7, we ignore this taking autonomy, and parents don't help, and become too much addicted to these video games, social media already, in some cases, cell phone. One should not get a cell phone to a child of that age. The rules are very important to make. And of course, the sex education is all messed up because you know what, the internet free availability of, unrestricted availability of pornography. And that really messes up for many boys especially. Girls don't watch so much, but boys especially, it really messes up their awareness of the heart. And they become loner, defensive people who refuses to be vulnerable later, very narcissistic in their approach to the navel chakra. And the girls become kind of needy if they too, a substantial number of them have no scope of really learning about healthy sex education. So this has combined to give us what we call Pitta dosha in Ayurveda. It basically keeps you from activating improved physiology at the navel and at the heart. Now, the practices Valentina gave, that will give you temporary relief from this. But the best thing, of course, is to adapt the creativity. But this time, it's not just doobie-doobie of the mind that we employ for outer creativity. This time, it really is the inner creativity and the vital. This is where Qigong, Tai Chi, pranayama, yoga, those practices become paramount. And, Valentina has developed this quantum yoga that has basic instructions for how to avoid kapha dosha, pitta dosha. And if you, in case you have pitta dosha, did not avoid it, you can learn creativity of the body creativity of the vital at any age, and these practices will teach you that. So remember this and don't hesitate. If you see the symptoms of too much intellectualism within you, if you see the symptom that yes, I am narcissistic, if you see the symptom that yes, I have some awareness of love at the heart chakra, but I'm needy. I don't have strength in the navel chakra. I don't have a sense of self worth. Then seek out the help of quantum healing. Seek us out. Consult our website, come to us, and we have helpers, advisors. We will refer you to suitable people. Very soon our website will be constructed in such a way that will become easier. But even now, if you write to us, we will make sure that you get some ways to help yourself. Okay? Thank you.
So, as he's pointing out, the information is on the screen. The website is www.amitgoswami.org and the email ID is info@amitgoswami.org. If you have any questions, you want advice, or you want to connect to us in any way, please drop us a mail and we will get back to you. And thank you so much for being here today. See you next week.